Hi everyone, I'm Brandy, an OpenSciEd teacher and professional learning facilitator. Welcome to OpenSciEd Chemistry, Unit 3, Lesson 1. To create a sense of excitement for this new unit, I always wear my NASA t-shirt on the first day of this lesson. This anchor tends to be quite contentious. Many of my students are curious or excited about space exploration, but others are really frustrated about the idea of abandoning Earth. They really want to take care of our planet. As you run the anchor, make sure you validate all of those feelings as they arise. This unit is very intentionally works to attend both curiosity and the apprehension that many feel about space. Keep these things in mind as we launch into the anchoring phenomena routine to kick off Unit 3. Here's the lesson at a glance. Since this is the first lesson of Unit 3, this lesson goes through the elements of the anchoring phenomena routine over 4 45-minute days. About 35 minutes of material preparation is required. The prep time includes making copies and might take slightly longer to get the measurements ready for your scale model of the Earth-Moon ISS system. There is no hands-on investigation, and the students won't need devices to participate. As part of the unit instruction, you will show them the Meet the Artemis Team video from NASA. This long lesson has many parts that we can break into 3 chunks. So let's see what's happening in each. In the first loop, the students analyze the Meet the Artemis Team video and transcript. They explore the space mission deck, and as a class, we develop a scale model of the Earth-Moon International Space Station system, and we use it to visualize the relative scale of the distances to the other objects in the solar system. To close this loop, we'll identify criteria and constraints and possible solutions. We figure out that people need certain substances to live and support the kinds of work that they might want to do in places beyond Earth. We wonder, what else could we do to get these substances or materials if we cannot bring them with us or have them sent from Earth? In the second loop, we analyze that space mission deck again, and we discuss ways to tell the space objects apart. Then we discuss how science and engineering have helped us develop more sustainable systems for reusing and recycling substances or reducing waste, and how this is related to our needs for living and working on and beyond Earth in the future. We figure out that the scale of the solar system and the cost and speed of space travel mean that most of the substances we need to live and work would have to be found, recycled, or made on site. We wonder, what processes do people use to recycle substances, and how does the process change the materials they are trying to recycle? In the third loop, students identify patterns in the materials and processes to make the products we need for survival. Then students develop and compare initial models before developing a class consensus model to help explain what is happening at the particle level in any chemical reaction and why certain products, but not others, are the result of the chemical reaction. We finish the anchoring phenomena routine by the students adding their questions to a driving question board and then brainstorming ideas for investigation and data that we need. We figure out new substances or products can be created from one or more reactants through the rearrangement of matter in chemical reactions. Though we have lots of ideas for investigation and data we need to answer all of our questions, we prioritize figuring out more about water-related questions next. So to summarize, we figure out that people need specific substances to live and work beyond Earth, but the vast distances and limits of space travel mean that these materials must be found or recycled or made on site. Chemical reactions allow new substances to be created by rearranging matter from reactants into products. And now for a few key moments. So we'll start with the key moment in part 2. You'll introduce the whole unit by having the students watch a video and annotate the transcript about NASA's Artemis program. This video gets the students thinking about where NASA is planning to go, how they will do this, and why they are doing this. It's pretty inspiring to get to see the actual team members and their enthusiasm for wanting to bring prosperity and benefits to all people. Now for a key moment in part 4, you'll work with the class to develop a scale model of the Earth Moon International Space Station system, and you'll use it to visualize the relative scale of distances to other objects in the solar system. The first section in this part is focused on the mathematical comparison, and then the second part is a visual comparison with a small foam ball and a beach ball. This part is really important for helping your students to understand how vast space is and setting them up to see how those distances could be constraints. The key moment in part 5, the students will analyze the payload limitations and rocket data. This data, along with the exit ticket at the end of day 1, are important so that the students can begin thinking about what criteria and constraints could be associated with space travel, as well as living and working in these remote locations for a long period of time. So, another key moment in part 6, just before class, like on day 2, you'll want to click into the slide deck on slide M on the right side in the red text section, and you'll add the criteria that your students have included on their day 1 exit ticket. Here's a list that came from my students. You'll use this list to lead a discussion to identify substances or materials that we will need to live and work on another planet, and the constraints that limit how much we can take with us. So, still in day 2, moment in part 8, the students will be in groups and they'll compare images from the space mission deck of the solar system objects and discuss ways to tell them apart. They're looking for evidence of different substances that we need. You'll prompt them to consider how we could tell liquids or gases apart, which leads them to asking more questions. Don't skip this step. Their curiosity here will help the need to run some of the investigations in the later lessons. A key moment in part 10, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, some of my students initially struggled with the why of the Artemis mission. So revisiting the why again on day 2 helps to reorient the students to focus on developing the new technologies related to ways to reuse or recycle resources in space and on Earth. Now, in part 11, the students will identify substances that we might need for more of on site and recall that some chemical reactions explored in this class or previous classes. You'll record the matter and inputs or reactants and matter outputs or products we recall related to these reactions to create a chart that looks like this. This is a sample version from the teacher's guide. So later in this lesson and in future lessons, we'll refer to this as the Related Phenomena Chemical Reactions poster. So it's one that you'll want to hang on to. A key moment in part 15. Boy, this might seem long because we're on day 3 launch of this unit, but don't skip this part. The students will examine the materials for survival handout that's shown here and look for patterns or similarities across these different essential processes. The important key takeaway here is that water is involved in almost all of these processes as either a reactant or a product, which sets us up nicely for the next lesson. In part 16, the students will develop their initial particle level explanation for a chemical reaction and then compare similarities and differences in an explanation of a different reaction. Some students might have a hard time getting started, so I just tell them to look back at the materials for survival handout and try to model one of the simplest reactions that they see. I also tell them it's okay just to use different colored circles to represent the different elements, so make sure they have colored pencils or markers handy. Finally, in part 17, you'll gather your students in a scientist circle to develop an initial consensus model to help explain what is happening at the particle level in any chemical reaction and why certain products but not others are the result of this chemical reaction. Ultimately, we want to elicit the idea that atoms rearrange to form new substances, which your students should have experience with from middle school, but can also be seen through observations of the materials for survival handout. There are step-by-step directions and images in the teacher's guide to help you lead this discussion. This is an image of what you might end up with at the end. So where do we go from here? After that long anchor, the students have generated lots of ideas for investigation. Since water seems to be essential for life and chemical reactions, in the next lesson, we will begin by gathering some information on water's properties. And now for a few tips and tricks. In part 4, for the Earth Moon ISS scale model, you'll want to measure out the distances before class. You'll hang a polystyrene foam ball from the ceiling to represent the moon, and then measure the distance to where the beach ball Earth should be located, and put a piece of painter's tape on the floor so you're ready for class. In part 15, you'll be introducing the materials for survival handout. This will come up again in future lessons, so I took the time to print it in color and laminate them. I do have copies for my students that are in black and white, so I make sure that I give them colored pencils that they can annotate their own copy with. In part 20, the driving question board for this unit is a little bit different than other units. You'll want to make sure that you have 2 different colors of sticky notes so that you can differentiate the questions. Students will generate questions about finding new substances that we need in part 9 on day 2, and then they'll generate more questions about recycling or making the substances that we need in part 18 on day 3. Since there are 2 sets of questions, or if you don't have different colored sticky notes, you may want to have 2 separate driving question boards so you have enough room for all of the questions. You'll also want to make sure you give you and your students enough time for everyone to share. There are several words that we will encounter that you'll want students to add to their personal glossary. We originally co-construct or encounter many that are previously encountered in OpenSciEd middle school or high school biology or chemistry units, and you could see those with the asterisks here. For poster management, since this is the beginning of a new unit, you'll be making 3 charts that you'll need to save for use in the next lessons. First, the related phenomena chemical reactions poster, the class consensus initial reaction model, and the driving question board with the 2 different colored stickies. Remember to look at the teacher's guide for examples. You'll want to save all 3 of these for future use. So to summarize, this is the lesson where you want to get as many initial ideas on the table as possible, but you don't need to pick which ones are right and wrong. I think you'll find it really fun to hear what the students come up with. In the next lesson video, we'll start investigating water and some of its properties that make it essential for life. So make sure you check that out. Good luck and have fun.